Hello everyone, this is Dannon with Legal Issues Research Presentation. I have Chapter 7, Religion in the Schools. So this is often a sometimes conflicting role that religions play in education, and it's not always easy to understand. However, in this chapter we're going to just skim the surface of the role that religion plays in our schools. Here's our outline. We have three primary topics. We have the legal framework, 12 notable concerns, and what, as educators, what we can take away from this presentation and use this out in the real world or in the classroom. To begin, we're going to look at the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So we're going to look at two primary parts of this. We're going to look at religion and free exercise thereof. Next, we're going to look at the 14th Amendment. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Our main focus within this amendment is privileges or immunities. So these two amendments will be seen later in the presentation. And our third notable article is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, focusing on Title VII, which is no discrimination of race, color, religion, sex, and national origin in employment. Again, we're going to focus on religion on this one. I like this photograph. You can see LBJ and Martin Luther King in the back over there. 12 concerns about the role of religion. Number 1, Pledge of Allegiance. We're all familiar with this. Congress added under God, after one nation. It wasn't until a father in the 70s felt like their child had the right to not participate. Number 2, school prayer. Schools sponsored employee-led prayer. So not just any student can lead a prayer. You have to be, under Texas rule, you have to be a junior or senior and be in a role of honor, such as student council or team captain. Silent meditation, also as defined as a moment of silence. So this is a time where students can have voluntary prayer, or if you don't want to use the word prayer, thoughtful contemplation. Invocations at graduation. The school cannot hire clergy. It must be led by a student volunteer, and as long as it doesn't shift the focus of a graduation towards one religion in particular. And then when it comes to college campuses, it's best to have these ceremonies off school ground and without any school sponsorship. Next is the student-initiated events, the TEC. Student may voluntarily pray together. So this would be like at a sporting event. If students choose to pray, then that's okay. Creation science. There's a lot that can go into this one, but we're just going to look at one in particular that happened in Louisiana that basically allowed that if evolution was taught, then so is creation science. So if you had one, you had to teach the other. Next, we're looking at secular humanism. First off, this is defined by Congress so far as not being considered a religion. Therefore, these may not be excused like other religions. Next is pagan religion. There's a lot that can go into this one because it is such a wide variety of what pagan is. For instance, a teacher got in trouble for putting witches within an assignment, and this was counted as paganism, but it's really up to you, so therefore it's supposed to be neutral. Religions in classrooms. There are 6 guidelines for teaching religion in classrooms. It must be academic, not devotional. It must raise students' awareness, not acceptance. It must study religion and not sponsor religion. It has to show diversity, it has to educate, and it's supposed to inform, not confine a particular religion. Next is choir programs. Over the course of time, it prohibits religious music in schools sponsored musical events. Clergy in schools. Basically, it's unconstitutional for clergy to go into schools. This hasn't been a problem in some time. Distribution of religious literature, it's only by voluntary basis. So therefore, if there were religious books at a school book fair and it's up to the student to actually pick one up, then they can. At this point, we're going to pause for a second as my mouth is getting a little dry. We're going to have a little intermission. All right, welcome back. We're off to number 9, wearing religious symbols. Title 7 goes back to the Civil Rights Act of no discrimination against religion. So teachers are allowed to wear jewelry, although nothing flashy. As the book states, you can't have a crucifix with lights shining around it that kind of distracts the student. Number 10, student religious group meetings on campus. In 1984, the Equal Access Act allowed students or non-curriculum students to participate in religious group meetings at public schools. Number 11, religious exemptions. Jehovah's Witnesses refused to salute the flag as this was considered worshiping a graven image. We can go further into religious exemptions. However, what needs to be known is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which allows reasonable accommodation. Number 12, the private schools. The 14th Amendment allows students or parents to choose whether their child goes to a public or private school. So, to sum it all up, we're going to stay neutral as teachers, always exercise individual freedom. The United States Constitution and the Texas Constitution allows individual freedom, but also strict rules for all educators. Just try not to advance or inhibit any religion on the job, and knowledge is prevention. The more you know about these rules, then the better you're off from perhaps going into a court case. Well, I thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed your time here. This has been the final video for CI. Yay!